Allah says, first of all, the earth will violently shake when the trumpet is blown. And then the second time, it will be shaken another time. And this other time is when we will be raised. The first one was for death, and the second one is for resurrection. So now, on the time of this resurrection, Allah depicts the first thing. He says, قُلُوبٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَاجِفَةٌ. Hearts on that day. Some hearts on that day, some hearts particularly on that day, will experience what Allah depicts as wajifa. Here, I know this is a long list, but I still want to illustrate this list, or at least express some of the meanings in this list before we go into the word wajifa, because it's critical for you to appreciate the depth of the words in Arabic. One of my agendas in these durus is to try to highlight how incomplete translations are. How incomplete, even my own translation, how incomplete it is. Because how deep the words go and how intricate the meanings are connected to one another, and we have to be careful in coming to conclusions about tafsir of Quran. Allah Azza wa Jalla speaks about the word wajif, and most translations will say petrified, horrified, terrified, scared. These are the words. Basically words associated with fear. Now here's some words in the Quran that are used for fear, just so we know how they're different. One of the words used for fear is khawf. Khawf. You probably heard this word before. It's a very famous word. La khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. Khawf is used for a perceived danger. When you actually perceive a physical danger, then the word used is khawf. Another word is khashya, like وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ خَشْيَةَ إِمْلَاقٍ. Okay? Khashya is used when you are afraid of the magnitude of something. Specifically out of the magnitude of whatever is coming, that is scaring you, that is khashya. So khawf is more of a physical danger, while khashya is the greatness of something, like the magnitude of the implications of losing one's job, or the magnitude of just the idea of Day of Judgment will lead you to khashya, for example. Then there's the word khushu', which we use, for example, also in salat. This is a fear that's manifest not only in your heart, but it actually takes a hold of your face and your limbs. This fear shows on your face and your limbs. It's an overpowering and instilling kind of fear. And this is the kind of fear we're supposed to have in salat. That it actually, our faces have khushu', not just our hearts. That khushu' comes out of the heart and it starts affecting other limbs of the body. Then there's the word taqwa, which is very common. Ittaqa yattaqi. This is to actually fear the consequences of one's actions. To fear not something dangerous, but the consequences of what I'm doing myself. This is actually called taqwa. It comes from wiqaya, which is to protect. And taqwa literally means to protect yourself from the consequences of your own future actions. Okay, that's how it's really in the literary sense it's understood. Then there's hadr, like hadar al-maut, right? They out of fear of death. Again, the translation will say hadr means fear, but hadr is actually out of fear to try to escape something, or to be very careful of something. If you see something scary and you're trying to kind of escape it, this is hadr. This is that specific kind of fear, which means you're in proximity of the thing that is dangerous, or the thing that you're trying to get away from. Then there's ra'a, to startle someone. When you jump up on somebody, or you show up out of nowhere, or the person was just reading and they unexpectedly heard the door open, the initial reaction is raw'a. This is this fear immediate, but it subsides immediately also. This is the kind of fear that Ibrahim alayhi salam first felt when the angels came, but it departed from him. It left from him. This is ra'a. Okay. Then there's awjasa, or wajas it comes from. And this is actually a fear when you hear something. Like you hear something, you get scared. Or you hear something that scared you. You hear some news or some event you overheard and it scared you. This is awjas. Also means to actually hide your fear within you. You don't let the person that is scaring you or the thing that is scaring you know that you're actually scared. Okay? Nakarahum wa awjasa minhum khifa. This is actually spoken of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Nakirahum. He saw them, he didn't recognize them, he didn't know who these guys are, so he was kind of scared, but he didn't let them see that he was scared. So awjasa is used. He didn't let them see his fear. Then there's wajl. إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. Wajl is used. Now wajl is to have a fear that penetrates deep into your heart. A fear that penetrates into the very depths of your heart. That's wajl. Rahab is a fear mixed with, it's actually mixed with love. So it's a kind of fear you have of disappointing the one you love. When you're afraid of disappointing the person that you love, then rahab is used. Allah Azza wa Jalla speaks, for example, of believers saying, يَدْعُونَنَا رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا. They call on us with inclination, they're inclined towards their Lord, and they're also afraid. But what kind of fear? The fear of disappointing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's rahab. Okay? Then finally, ra'ab actually to be overwhelmed with intense fear. This is وَقَذَفَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الرُّعْبَ. Also, ru'b comes from this, right? To have overwhelming, terrified fear of someone that makes you lose your reason. Then, ashfaqa, this is the kind of fear all of us have. This comes from, it's actually related to the word shafiqa ala. To have, shafqa over someone is to take care of them, to be concerned with their well-being, etc., right? To show good to them. But then ashfaqa means that you're afraid that some harm will come to them. The one you're taking care of, you're also scared that some harm might come their way. So many different kinds of fear illustrated in so many different places where it's best situated in the Quran. Of all of these, finally, we come to the word wajaf, which is قُلُوبٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَاجِفَةٌ. That's the word that's used here. What is special about this kind of fear? It is a fear mixed with discomfort. And it's illustrated, the one who's feeling wajaf is the one whose heart is pounding so hard they can feel it out of fear. That's when wajaf is used. And this is also used when you strike your horse and its heart starts pounding and it races forward. So you say, أَوْجَفْتُ الْخَيْلَ. I made my horse, race forward by making its heart race. So that's the kind of fear that Allah depicts on that day. When that second strike will fall, when that second shaking will occur, some hearts on that day will be basically beating out of their chests. That's the illustration here. قُلُوبٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَاجِفَةٌ. Especially on that day, some hearts will be beating out of their chests. The language, the sentence structure here also illustrates that these hearts right now, they're not scared. Right now they're at peace. They have no discomfort at all. But these are the very same hearts, especially on that day, يَوْمَ إِذٍ, they're going to experience this wajifa. And also wajifa is an ism fa'il, it's a nominal form. What that illustrates is, when your heart starts pounding, a few minutes later it comes to rest, it calms down. The choice of the word in the ayah illustrates their heart will start pounding and it won't come to rest. It'll continuously keep pounding. It'll keep, the terror won't subside. قُلُوبٌ يَوْمَ إِذٍ وَاجِفَةٌ.